If you are spending hours and hours meal prepping on a Sunday and then you find it by Wednesday, you are basically running out of food after like 3 hours of intense meal prep, I'm gonna break this down and I'm gonna show you how you can meal prep in around about 30 to 45 minutes for literally the whole week. So we're gonna keep it quick, we're gonna keep it easy, we're gonna keep it simple, and it's gonna mean that you can get through the whole week without having to scramble halfway through the week, running out of meal prep, and we're gonna do this in a much shorter time frame. So let's get stuck in. One of the best reasons that you want to be meal prepping as well is because if you are someone that isn't prepping and you're out and about, you know, you're busy, everyone has commitments, everyone has busy lives, kids, work, etc., then you're going to end up not choosing things that actually align with your goals, because you're going to end up basically getting halfway through the week, having nothing prepped in the fridge and being like, oh my God, what do I do? Grabbing something that actually doesn't align with your goals. And that's when it can feel really, really stressful, when you don't have anything prepped in the fridge, you don't know what you're eating, and you don't have anything ready. It's way more likely that you're actually going to grab something that then doesn't align with your goals. So we're going to break this down today. We're going to go through an under 45-minute prep that literally sets you up for the whole week. And this is exactly how I meal prep. We're going to break it down one step at a time, and this is going to literally last you the whole week. It's going to be super time efficient, and also it's going to be tasty, because I know that often meal prep can feel boring, it can feel very samey. So I'm going to actually show you how you can meal prep quite a wide variety of things, and you can mix and match these throughout the week so that actually you do have variety through the week and you're not left eating exactly the same thing for exactly the same meal every single day. So let's get stuck in. So the first step to this is doing a strategic shop. This is essentially where you go out and you buy all the ingredients that you need for the week, okay? So I like to do this on a Saturday because I like to do my prep on a Sunday, and it means that on Saturday I go and get all my food chopped done, and on Sunday I can basically spend like half an hour basically chopping everything up, whack it in the oven, and we're good to go for the week. So when I do my shop, the things that I think about is protein, carbs, and veg, okay? So for protein, we have got some salmon fillets, we've got some lean chicken mince, sometimes I will use chicken breast, but that's fine too, and then we've also got beef mince, okay? So these are gonna be the 3 protein sources that we're gonna prep for this week. Then you've got your carbs, so I'm gonna keep this nice and easy. We've basically got some rice, so this is just some Jasmine rice, and we've also got some potatoes. So I've got white potatoes, and I've also got some sweet potatoes. So they're gonna be the carb sources. I do use a lot of things like oats, cereal, fruit, like bagels, so they are obviously quick and easy. You don't need to prep things like this. And then we've got the veg, so I've got some peppers, I've got some asparagus, and I've got some Tenderstem broccoli. So that's gonna be the veg for this week. And then something else to think about as well is like your condiments and your seasonings. So I have got some beef stock cubes, and then we've basically got a whole range of seasonings and sauces, which I will explain more about those as we go through the shop. So that's essentially your first step. And one of the main things I would say is make sure you get seasonings, get sauces, because you can make your meals so much more interesting if you're actually seasoning and you're cooking your food properly without it being super plain and super boring. So grab yourself some seasonings, grab yourself some sauces. It makes it so much easier. So that is essentially the first step. The first step is to go and get your shop done and think, when you are doing your shop, protein, have I got a range of different protein sources? Have I got a range of different carb sources? And have I got a range of veggies? And then once you've got that and it's stocked in the fridge, you can prep it all and get it all done for the whole entire week in one go. Okay, so the second step is we are gonna pre-chop our veggies. So this will be massively, massively time saving later in the week. When you've got 5 minutes to put a meal together and you've already got your veg chopped, it's a game changer. So we've also got some salad bits, we've got some cucumber, and we have got some tomatoes. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna spend literally 2 minutes just chopping all of our veggies up. Okay, so let's get stuck in. We've got cucumber. One thing to note with this as well, and this is where meal prep can get massively overcomplicated, is people will try and cook completely different meals for every single day of the week. Not gonna lie, if I was cooking a completely different breakfast, lunch, dinner every single day of the week, of course you are gonna get overwhelmed with your food prep and your meal prep. So a really, really easy thing to think about is, rather than prepping whole meals, so what I really recommend doing, and this is exactly what we're gonna be doing today, is we're gonna be doing something known as fridge prep or ingredient prep. So you'll see exactly exactly what I mean as we go through this video, but it is essentially where we just get all the ingredients cooked, prepped, sliced and diced and in the fridge, so that when you come to actually making a meal, you've got multiple different ingredients already cooked, all ready to go in the fridge, and you can basically mix and match your meals as you go through the week. So you're not necessarily having to decide exactly what you're eating for the whole entire week in advance, but it does mean that when you come to the fridge and you're hungry and it's time for your next meal, you've got multiple protein sources cooked, you have got multiple different types of veg chopped up, your carbs are ready to go. And the way that I do mine as well is I will use, like I said earlier, a lot of my meals around my main meals, I'll use really, really easy things. So I will use things like protein oats. I use protein powder quite a lot. That's a 2-minute meal, right? You can whack some fruit on top and you're good to go. I will also use things like Greek yogurt and fruit with dark chocolate and peanut butter. Again, that's something I eat before bed every single day. It's super quick, it's super easy. It takes literally under 60 seconds to put that meal together. And I will also use eggs, turkey bacon, bagels. Again, super quick and super easy when it comes to prep. I will also use cereal and whey, which again is really quick, really easy, literally takes like under 60 seconds to put that meal together. So it's the things like the meat, the veg, and the carbs like rice, pasta, etc. that take quite a long time to cook. So if you can make those a lot easier to prep and already have those in your fridge, that's the thing that is going to dramatically reduce your time when it comes to actually being efficient with your meal prep. And essentially, this is now done. So I am going to pop this basically in a Tupperware. This goes in the fridge. I can just grab a handful and I can add this to my chicken, to my rice, to my salad, however I want to do it. But my veggies now are chopped and done for the week. So I have these. These are basically like glass containers. These essentially to put all of my prep in. All we're going to do now is we're going to grab these and we're just going to whack them into the Tupperware, and then these will keep in the fridge. Vegetables actually do keep for quite a long time, so obviously it just makes it a hell of a lot easier when you are making a salad and you've already got these cooked. And the good thing is, right, is with your carbs and with your protein, you don't even have to have exactly the same thing every week. This week I've got chicken mince. Next time I might have chicken breast. Also things like I've got beef mince. I also will have steak quite a lot, so I will rotate things around in that way as well. But essentially that is the first one good to go, which is the salad. So first thing done, that literally took me 2 minutes. The next thing we are going to go on to is the veggies. So we're going to basically chop up the rest of the peppers, the broccoli and the asparagus. And the way that I'm going to do this is I'm going to put this into the oven. I do also have a microwave steamer, which is absolutely fantastic when it comes to cooking veg, but it's just a little bit tastier in the oven. So we're going to prep all this, we're going to whack it on a like baking tray, and we're going to pop it in the oven for around about 20 minutes. So something else as well, which is a nice little hack when it comes to doing your meal prep, is if you can get yourself like a few different kitchen appliances, you will massively, massively save time when it comes to doing your prep. So I'm going to run you through what I use. Obviously I have an oven. I also have a dual air fryer, so you can cook 2 different things in that at the same time. I tend to use that for like my meat and my fish, so I can put like chicken, I can put salmon in the air fryer. I also have a rice cooker, which is absolutely fantastic because it just cooks your rice for you. Obviously, if you really want to, you can use microwave rice, which will be even quicker. I also have another air fryer, which is like a spinny one, and you can do potatoes in that. Again, not a necessity, it's just things I've acquired over time. I have a microwave steamer, which as said is absolutely fantastic. And I think that is pretty much everything. So you can see there I have a few different bits and bobs that I use that just make it a lot quicker and easier when it actually comes to doing my prep. So when you're slicing these, like literally doesn't have to be perfect, just chop them up, don't worry about it being even. But that's the peppers done. Okay, we're now going to do the broccoli. So this is just tender stem broccoli. You can also use normal broccoli, I just prefer the tender stem one. And all you're going to do here, I just chop the ends off, and then we're going to do exactly the same with the asparagus. We're just going to chop the ends off again. And there's our veg, basically. That was quick, right? Okay, so all we're going to do here, we've got a tray that I accidentally left in the oven while it was heating up, so that was good. And we're just going to whack some foil on the tray, and we're going to put all the veggies basically onto the tray, okay? So a little side note with this is just pop the oven on while you're chopping up your veg, and then it becomes super quick and super easy, because as soon as you chop your veg, you can just whack them in the oven or the air fryer, the steamer, whatever appliance you are using to basically cook your food. I'm just going to do them in the oven because I like them, and I'm going to put some of the salmon in the air fryer, so it just makes it like a little bit easier. Okay, so I use this, which is basically the olive oil cooking spray. Really, really good alternative. Obviously, you can use like extra virgin olive oil, which is actually a great fat source. You can use coconut oil, also a great fat source. You can also get the Fry Light coconut oil, which is fantastic, but I just use this because it's lower calorie. All you're gonna do is just spray the foil like this, just to coat it a little bit. And then basically, we're just gonna whack all of the veg onto the tray, okay? So we've got the broccoli on one side, we have got the asparagus, we're just gonna put that into the middle. And then we've got the peppers. So we're gonna put all of that on there. I'm actually just gonna get a second pack of asparagus, which I forgot to chop up. Okay, so there's the veg on the tray, and we're now just gonna spray that over the top. So just give that a little spray, just so it cooks a bit better. And then all we're gonna do, so the first seasoning we've got, this is just all-purpose seasoning. You can literally use whatever you want. You can use lazy garlic, chili powder, literally whatever you want. It really, really doesn't matter. But I just use this all-purpose seasoning, and we're just gonna put a little bit of this on if it wants to come out. It just gives it a bit more flavor then, rather than it just being like plain steamed vegetable. I just like it in the oven as well because it goes a bit crispier, which is quite nice. And you can literally do this with any veg. You could do tomato, you can do kale, you can literally do whatever you want. And then this just goes in the oven for, I just put it in for 20 minutes, but we'll have a check in 10. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna prep our potatoes. So obviously all the veg is now cut and ready to go. So I've just got 2 sweet potatoes. Honestly, I don't even peel these. I literally just whack them in with the skin on. The skin's also a great source of fiber, so that can be really, really good. And what I will do as well is I will weigh these before, so I know exactly how many I've got. I tend to have 250 grams of potato per meal. So I know, for example, if I cook 1.5 kilos of potatoes, I know that's gonna give me enough potatoes for 6 days, right? So that's how I tend to do it. Okay, so we'll get the scale and we'll weigh the potatoes. So we have got 660 grams of sweet potato, and 630. How many grams is that? 1280. So we need basically another 200 grams of potatoes. Perfect. That is literally spot on. So that is basically 1.5 kilos of potato. So now we are essentially gonna chop these up. So all I would do here is I'm just gonna do these into like cylinders. So I'll just chop this like this, and then I'll chop them in half again, just so they're a little bit thinner and easier to cook. You can literally chop them however you want, to be fair. One more thing to note as well, if you would rather just do all your prep in one go and chop everything up, like you can. Like I've obviously put the veg in the oven but you don't have to. You could just chop everything up first, and then you could like put it in the oven afterwards, all in one go if you'd rather do that. But the first step is basically get all your veggies. I like doing it this way because then, this is really lazy, but I don't have to wash the chopping board. Whereas if I cook the meat first, like I chop up the chicken or whatever, oh, potato on the floor. Oh, I've lost a potato. Yeah, if I cook the meat first, obviously I have to wash the chopping board. So what will basically happen to these, and again, you can boil them, you can cook them however you want, but this is gonna be 6 servings now of potato, which is loads, as long as Will doesn't eat any. So these are gonna go in the air fryer, just for ease. And again, they'll go in with the spray you just saw me use. It will be exactly the same thing. So this is basically the air fryer. This is the one that spins round. It just, I think, works a little bit better. A good tip to do this is don't put salt in because it dries them out. So all we're gonna do is we're gonna put a few potatoes in, and then the key here is to just make sure they're all sprayed properly. So we're gonna put a few in and spray them, and then we're gonna put a few more in and spray them so they're all sprayed. Okay, that's the potatoes done. So we're just gonna pop them on the side for now. And we'll go and whack these into the air fryer. Okay, so that's all the other potatoes cooked. So these are just the normal white potatoes. So the sweet potatoes are in the air fryer. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cook these just on the hob. I'm just gonna boil these. So we've got a mix of like some potatoes in the air fryer and some potatoes that are boiled. And this is the great thing about meal prep, right? If you do it all in one go and you carve out, let's say 60 minutes like max, right? And you've got all your ingredients done, you can cook everything at the same time. So I could have my veg in the oven, I can have the air fryer with the potatoes on, I can have have some bits on the hob like the rest of the potatoes. I can have some protein cooking on the hob. I can have the salmon in the air fryer. Like everything's cooking at the same time. Once my stuff is cooking and it's doing its thing and the rice is in the rice cooker, I can just go away. I can do some jobs. I can, you know, I can do whatever I want to do. So actually, once you've done the prep, the actual cooking part, you can go and leave it if you want to for like 15 minutes and just go and do something else while you are actually cooking your food. So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna put these potatoes on the hob and then we're gonna whack the rice in the rice cooker. Okay, so the next thing we are gonna do is the rice. So this is just jasmine rice. So like I said, you can use microwave if you really wanna make your life easier. So I don't weigh this until it's cooked. I just portion it out. So all we're gonna do is we're going to pour a load of this in. Obviously, if you run out partway through the week, it literally takes 2 seconds to do this and you can just cook more rice. And all you're going to do is you're just going to give it a rinse just to like wash the starch off, just makes it a bit nicer. And then, yeah, that will be done. So time to do the rice. So you can put the rice on in the rice cooker and you can basically have everything cooking at the same time. So that's what we're going to go and do now. Just get everything on and then just leave that to all cook while we sort out the protein. Okay, so that is essentially the first 2 steps done. So now we're gonna go onto the protein. I've got my pans ready to go and I'm basically just gonna show you how I do this. So the first thing that often makes like meal prep a lot harder is trying to meal prep like 8 different meals. So if you're trying to prep like a beef chili, a pasta dish, a chicken and rice dish, like some sort of, I don't know, stir fry, like you're gonna end up spending flipping loads on your shop, but also you're gonna end up just spending ages cooking because if you're trying to make like 8 different meals, it's gonna be so time consuming. You're gonna need multiple different things on the go at once. So the main thing is just pick your ingredients and just prep your ingredients individually with a couple of different combinations, because what you can then do is if you wanna have salmon one week, the next week you might have cod, and then the week after you might have sea bass. And you can do the same with your protein. So like this week you might have beef mince, and then the next week you might have steak, and then the next week you might have turkey mince. You know, you can rotate your food sources round. It not only does it make your food shop a lot easier and a lot cheaper, but it also makes your meal prep a lot easier. So you don't necessarily have to eat exactly the same food every single day, but having like a kind of set menu for the week where you might have salmon multiple times one week that week, and then the next week you might not. It does make things a lot easier. I personally do eat quite similarly on a day-to-day basis. Like I just find it works for me. I enjoy the meals I eat. I don't necessarily need to change it, but I might rotate little things like this week I've got chicken mince, next week I might have chicken breast. So you can kind of rotate around your fundamentals. So that's one of the main things that I would say when it comes to your meal prep is just pick your key ingredients. And if you think when you're going to the shop, right, get maybe 3 different protein sources, maybe 4 to 5 different veg and salad sauces, a few different seasonings and sauces, and then, you know, maybe 2 or 3 different carb sources. If you're getting all those things from your shop every week, you're going to be in a pretty good spot when it comes to getting your meal prep done. So I've got this is my little tray that goes into my air fryer. So all we're gonna do is whack the salmon in here. If I cook chicken as well, this is how I will cook my chicken breast because it just makes it a little bit easier. So my second tip when it comes to meal prep and making meal prep easier is going to be if you can get a few different seasonings and sauces, that makes things loads easier. So for me, for example, I've got sweet chili sauce, got obviously my fry light spray that I already used, some chicken seasoning, all-purpose seasoning, so that's nice and easy, a tomato-based sauce, which we're gonna use with the mince, paprika, and we've got some salt. You don't need loads of different things, and obviously these will last me like a long time as well. And we've also got some Nando's barbecue ponos, which I absolutely love. So, you know, you can keep it nice and easy. Get yourself some different seasonings. I've also got some lazy garlic in the fridge, which we're going to be adding to the mince. But, you know, once you're stocked up on your spices, your salt, your pepper, maybe a couple of different seasonings, some different sauces that you can rotate around, it's a really, really easy way of basically like jazzing up your food without it being super confusing and like intricate and making it super, super hard. So that's a little tip too. Okay, so all we're gonna do with the salmon, just gonna put a bit of sweet chili sauce on it, just a little squeeze. Then we're just gonna put some salt on it. Okay, so that's protein number 1, and you could even, if you have a double pack of salmon, I only have salmon on my rest days 2 days a week, which is why I'm only cooking 2 salmon fillets, but if you wanted to have salmon like every day, you could just buy 2 packs of salmon and then put all 4 salmons in the air fryer in one go. So that's the salmon. Okay, the next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna whack the beef mince and we're gonna whack the chicken mince in a pan. I've got 2 pans, and we're gonna do this at the same time. We're gonna spray the pans, and we're gonna put the beef mince in one, and we're gonna put the chicken mince in another. Tip number 3 when it comes to doing your meal prep is prep your foods and then just keep all your foods in their own boxes. So say if you're making something like, I don't know, a pasta bolognese, let's say, right? You don't need to portion out every single serving of your pasta and your mince in each individual box, so you've got 4 pre-made servings of pasta bolognese. You could just cook all your mince and keep all of your mince in one Tupperware, because if you do it this way and you store each ingredient separately, your food's gonna last a lot longer and you're not gonna get like weird mushy textures where all your food mixes up. I can't deal with that. But also B, you're gonna take up a lot less room in the fridge if you're storing everything in one pot and you have like a pot of salad, a pot of, you know, salmon, a pot of chicken. That's gonna store a lot longer doing that than it is cooking everything and storing everything in its own little pot. When we look at the practical side, when it comes to actually like composing your meal up, right? You've got all your protein prepped in a few different pots. You've got all your carbs prepped in a couple of different pots. You've got all your veggies prepped in a couple of different pots and your salad, and then it's all seasoned, it's all cooked, it's all ready to go. And all you're doing then, right, is you've got your sauces in the cupboard. So we've got like the sweet chili sauce, the barbecue sauce, etc. And we can then grab whatever 3 ingredients we want. So, you know, you've got your base prep of your meals, you've got your protein, your carbs, your veg, you whack them all together, and then you can add whatever seasoning you want. And it's a super quick and easy way to essentially grab a meal and, you know, putting that hour aside, won't even take you an hour to be fair, but putting that bit of time aside on a Sunday just to do all of your cooking, all of your washing up in one go. You literally don't have to barely cook or wash up for the whole rest of the week, which makes it so much easier. And just a tip as well when it comes to portioning things out, so you don't even have to weigh it if you're going to be eating that food across the whole of the week. So I know, for example, I have 125 grams of beef mince in a portion. So I know in here I've got 500 grams of mince, right? I know in here I have got 4 portions of beef mince. So I don't necessarily need to even weigh that beef mince once it's cooked, because I know in that pot I've got 4 portions. As long as I roughly quarter that out, I know over the week as a whole I'm consuming 500 grams of beef mince, which averages out at 125 grams per meal. So you can do the same with the chicken mince as well. Like I know here I've got 500 grams of chicken mince. I know over the week, you know, if I roughly quarter that, that's going to give me 4 portions of chicken. So you don't even then, once you're cooking it this way, you don't even then need to weigh it every time you're doing it. You just roughly quarter it out and it makes your prep, honestly, so much easier. So now we've got these 2 in here. All we're going to do is we're going to add a bit more seasoning. So we've got some salt. We're then going to add, I've got some chicken seasoning. So we're going to add this onto the chicken mince just so it's got some flavour. And then in the beef mince, we've got some smoky paprika. And we've also got a beef stock cube. So I'm just gonna literally whack all of this in now, and then we can go and pop it all on the hob. Okay guys, so the good news is we are now getting to the exciting part where you can basically assemble it all together. So I have got my Tupperwares ready to go. I've just got these glass ones. You can use literally any Tupperware. I've got some big ones, I've got some little baby ones, but these are all on the table and they're all laid out ready. And the good thing is, if you kind of just do all your cooking in one go, it is literally done in one go. So I've had a lot of cooking going on. I've had air fryers, rice cookers, I've had to like stir bits on the hob, but essentially like that food's been cooking now for around, it's been 25 minutes because I put the potatoes in first because they take the longest, and basically everything then was done by the time the potatoes were done. So if you just whack it all in, all your cooking then is done in literally one go, and you literally don't have to cook for the rest of the week, which is a game changer. So all my cooking is now done, and what we're going to basically do now is I like to call this the assembly line. So we're going to assembly line the food. So we've done the tactical shot, we've done all the chopping, we've done all the cooking in one go, and now we're going to assemble it all in one go. So if you do these 3 things in this order, I promise you your meal prep will get easier. So rather than trying to do one meal and buy the stuff for one meal, chop the stuff for one meal, cook it, put it in a Tupperware, like that's one meal. If you can do basically batch cook it, right? So you buy all your food for the week in one go. So you go back to what we did earlier, and then you chop all your veggies and all your potatoes in one go. So everything's cooked at the same time. That's like your food shop and you're chopping. Then you cook everything in one go. So your carbs, your protein, your veg, it all cooks in one go. And then it all finishes cooking, and then you assemble it all in one go. So you've basically got like 3 stages of your meal prep. And I promise you, this is where it all comes together, and it all like is so much easier. And we're still, I mean, I did like 10 minutes of chopping. I did like, let's say 25 minutes of cooking. It's taken me a bit longer today because obviously I'm talking, but that's literally what, 35 minutes, and now all the food is basically cooked and we're just gonna whack it in the Tupperware. So you can probably do this if you fast and you don't faff about like I have today. You can do this in literally 45 minutes. So anyway, let's get stuck in and let's put it all in the boxes. Okay, so that's our veg done. We have basically got our cut roast veg, and then we've got our chopped veg that we did earlier. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to the carbs. So we've got the rice and we've got the potatoes. So that's gonna be the next 2 things. I think I went a bit overkill on the rice, but we will roll with it. Okay, so there's the rice. Okay, now we've got the potatoes. So we've got 2 lots of potato. We've got the sweet potato that we did in the air fryer, and we've got the white potato that was basically boiled. So that's gonna be the next one. Okay, so this is the potato from the hob. This is like the normal potato that won't fit in one Tupperware. So first we've got the salmon. Then we've got the beef. And then finally, we've got the chicken mince. Okay, and that is that. Basically, all the ingredients are now prepped for the week. So what that now means is when you come to the fridge and you open the fridge, you've got your carbs already cooked, you've got your veg already chopped, you've got some more veggies cooked up, and then you've got some different types of protein. And then you've got your sauces. So I've got sweet chili sauce, the Nando's peri barbecue, and I've also got the Nando's peri-naise already in the fridge. And you can see now it's all there, it's all ready to go. And then I would just recommend having things like eggs, oats, Greek yogurt. Whey protein is absolutely fantastic as a quick and easy protein source. Just other bits and bobs that are really quick. Things like bagels, pita bread, cereal work super well as well. And it then becomes so much easier to essentially compile your meal together rather than having to cook things from scratch every time. And obviously, like, I could make multiple different meals out of these ingredients. Like I could have the rice and the beef with a bit of cheese on top. I could have the salmon and the sweet potato with some veg. I could have the white potato and the chicken mince. Like, you can then rotate things around so much easier when this is done. And I promise you, this has literally saved me hours and hours of time. It saves my clients hours and hours of time by actually prepping your fridge essentially ready for the week ahead. And it means then you're not going to get to a Wednesday when you're running everyone around, you've got house jobs to do, you've got work to do, and you're not thinking, oh my God, I've literally got nothing in the fridge. And this has taken me literally 45 minutes to chop it all up, whack it all in the air fryer, get it all cooked, and then portion it out, and I'm literally set for the whole week. And you know, even if you want to have like dinner with your family, you could still do this for the rest of your day and then just home cook your evening meal. You know, you don't necessarily have to cook your whole entire day. You could just do that for the first part of your day, or even like, you know, the weekend if you know that you tend to struggle on a weekend. So if you are tired of the meal prep approach and you want a structure that actually fits with your life, I literally work with women to simplify their nutrition and get them really, really good physique results that in a way that actually works for their lifestyle. So if you want a little bit more support with your nutrition, then you can drop me a message or you can click the link below and apply for one-to-one coaching with me. I really hope this has been helpful. I hope you have taken something from it, and I hope that it makes your meal prep a whole lot easier, because that is my meal prep done for the week in under an hour.